So a lot of the pressures of being married makes a person sometimes feel like they want to fantasize about escaping those pressures, just moving on. And sometimes also the reality of those financial pressures, they make a person feel like I need to get out of here.
Sometimes people just want to get away. They don't necessarily want to get with someone else.
So one of the things you might be thinking is maybe I made a mistake in marrying this person.
Yeah, that's when you can tell that you
Are checked out.
Yeah, or you're starting to be checked out. You're not completely checked out.
Because you're just only fantasizing about escaping.
Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people during this time, we're talking about divorce season happens in January, but the feelings have been festered and started
6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 to 3 months ago. So we're getting into that season now. And if you're thinking, hey, especially if your spouse really hasn't done anything wrong and they're not hurting you, there's not anything like that happening.
They never cheated on you.
No, it's like a feeling of unsatisfaction. Is that the word? It's like you think, like you said, you think you made a mistake. You think that the grass will be greener if you were just by yourself. Like you just want to be free.
Yeah. Is it usually that they want to be by themselves, or is it a combination of I want to be by myself, but I want to move on to something else as well?
Well, I think it can be all of those things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people just want to get away. They don't necessarily want to get with someone else. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they do, but it could be that you feel trapped, and you just want to get free, whatever that means to you. It could mean, hey, I want to have a single life again. I just want to get rid. I feel guilty about wanting to do what I want to do. And I have my family to consider. I just want to break away from it.
So a lot of the pressures of being married makes a person sometimes feel like they want to fantasize about escaping those pressures, just moving on. And sometimes also the reality of those financial pressures, they make a person feel like I need to get out of here.
Have you ever felt that way?
I don't think that I felt like I want to get out of here, but I did feel like I want the pressures to stop. I don't want any more of the pressure.
Yeah, I think that's a good way. I have felt at times like I want to go on a vacation. I think I fantasized. I think I fantasized many vacations in my head.
Yeah, well, vacation's different, but I'm talking about if you're saying I want to get out of here, I want to escape away from everybody, away from my life.
I did, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to have a divorce.
The word escape is a little bit not what I'm trying to say. What I'm really trying to say is I want to leave, and that's the word that I'm trying to say. Escape is.
Yeah, and one thing that you want to do is, you don't have to feel like you're betraying. You feel like, oh my gosh, I'm betraying my spouse. If really it is a result of emotional exhaustion. Like, why am I really having these thoughts? My husband or wife has not done anything to me. Why am I fantasizing this?
Sometimes we feel like we want something that we didn't experience. And we feel like you said earlier, the grass is greener on the other side, or I need to have that as a part of my experience of what I'm going through right now, when the truth is you don't need to have that other thing as your experience, and you just need to work your home life, work your marriage, work your relationship.
Yes, and that could be expressing unmet needs that you have, because remember, in a remarriage, we're like the needs and requirements seem to keep shifting. Every year there seems to be a different need for you, for me, for the kids, for the house, the home, the car. It seems like these needs in a marriage and in a remarriage change like every year.
Yes, like you were saying, they were shifting.
Yeah, the house has more needs this year than it did. The kids have these needs. Now you have this need. When I was pregnant, I had different needs, than when you were studying for something or doing this. Like all the time, the needs are changing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the one that's important to you can become unmet.
That is true. If you don't prioritize these things, then you definitely will fall into an unmet expectation situation.
What do you mean when you say when you don't prioritize?
What I mean is if you have a need and you said it's unmet,
Yeah.
you have to know these are my primary needs. These are the things that I need to make sure that I take care of, or that my spouse takes care of, or that we take care of. And more than likely, it's I need to take care of them and let my spouse know about these needs, because no one else can actually override your desires or needs or whatever you have for your life. So you let the person know these are my top 3 needs that need to be taken care of, and if they're not, they'll start to drain if they're not taken care of. I like to make sure that I know what my needs are. That way I don't feel emotionally drained. Prioritizing the need and knowing that these are things that should be taken care of in my life so that I don't feel like I need to escape.
Oh, okay. So like, give an example. Like, what do you mean?
So if I know that I like to take vacations, then that's a need. That's something I need in my life emotionally, so that I don't feel like I need to escape my relationship or escape my duties, the duties as a house in my household. So I need to let you know these are things that I need to do, and we need to always have this set up every year or every quarter, whatever it is, depending on our lifestyle, so that we're taking care of my need.
What if
And
it's
I have your need taken care of as well. So you let me know what your top 3 are.
what if it's a need like that? Like, that's a good example, a trip, and financially you can't meet that need right now.
It may not be a trip that you can take overseas, but it can be a trip you take to another state, another town, another
Like,
city.
still try
You-
to
to meet it, but
take a
not
trip,
to the
yeah.
grand expectation of what it could be.
What
You
about
can-
like what about like sexual needs?
Sometimes people don't meet their spouse's sexual need, and having a discussion about what we do and don't do before we even get together will clarify, if that's a need or a want or desire.
Well, what if you are in the marriage and you feel like that's an unmet need?
Well, then if we've had that discussion, I, as your spouse, have to begin to meet that need or let you know that I am working on it, or I do understand that your need is not being met, and this is the reason why it's not being met,
Yeah.
or why I will meet it once this situation over here resolves. Then I can meet your need.
Because there's a lot of reasons why some people wouldn't meet any of your needs. I mean, there could be their own emotional feeling, health, physical health.
Yeah,
We talked about financial health. Sometimes needs aren't met unintentionally.
that's what I mean. So you have to communicate with your spouse to let them know it's not that I don't want to meet your need. I physically cannot meet your need at this time. Let's take, for example, when you were pregnant, you couldn't physically meet all of the needs that I may have had at the time, but I know you wanted to meet those
Or
needs.
even with the kids, when I was pregnant with one, I couldn't even meet all the needs of like taking care of the other little one sometimes, just physically.
Yes.
And you need help.
Those are things I couldn't do, but you could.
No, you did help.
I'm talking about breastfeeding though.
Well, you did feed them.
I fed them with whatever we had
Yeah,
once they were at
you
a
fed
certain
them
age.
with what I pumped. So that was good.
Yeah.
That's like actually a good point. You didn't meet the need the same way.
Yes. That's a good example.
Yeah, but you
too.
did meet the need. Like the kids need to be fed.
So I fed them.
Yeah. And you did it in that way. And I think it's the willingness and your, wanting to meet that need. I think we talked about that. Like, we knew starting off in our marriage, we probably wouldn't meet all the needs that we needed right away.
I don't think anybody meets another person's
All
needs.
the needs. That's
all
like
the
that
needs.
80
Yeah.
to 20% thing.
Yeah.
I can probably meet 80% of your needs.
Yes.
I can't meet 20%. And there's probably someone out there that can meet all 20% of your needs.
Yeah,
But they won't, but they can't do 80. And
Exactly.
you have to manage that, and you have to understand. And when you have open dialogue with your spouse and they're like, look, I'm so glad you shared that need. I didn't know that you needed it.
This is why I was saying having a conversation about your top 3, at least you know that they're aware of that. And now if they blatantly just say, you know what, I'm not going to meet that need, then you know that you have a situation that has to be
you
resolved.
Right. You might need more counseling or more discussions. But when you have that challenge and you feel like, hey, I'm slipping away, one thing that you can do to protect your marriage and yourself is to rest. Just pause, rest, and heal, because you don't want to be hasty, and you don't want to make any permanent decision as leaving. That's a big decision.
That's a permanent decision on a temporary situation.
Yes. You had talked about that before. Don't make decisions when you're low.
No, it's not a good idea. I don't recommend making decisions when you're low, because that's like going into a store and you're making decisions while you're hungry.
Yeah. Don't go to the grocery store when you're super hungry.
When you're super hungry. And next thing you know, you're buying way more food and you're thinking about, I'm going to eat this.
Yeah, you go too far.
Yeah, you go too far.
And then sometimes you buy something you really didn't want to eat.
Or something that you already had at the house.
You're rebuying.
Yes.
And that could happen when you're exhausted. You can just go too far.
Yeah.
And do unnecessary things, cause unnecessary pain. And so that's why we want you to just rest, heal, pause, and wait a little bit. The emotional tide of stress, or what would we call it? Overwhelm.
Feeling.
Yeah, I hear that in ladies a lot.
They feel overwhelmed.
Stepmoms and remarried people, they're just like, I'm overwhelmed. People are overwhelmed in marriages anyway, and remarriage has like another layer of pressure and pain, and then you're dealing with that
because you're trying to recover from the previous pain, like you just said, and hurt that their family is trying to recover from that, and now you're also trying to build a new family and look forward instead of looking backwards.
And you have all that.
There's a lot of emotions involved with that.
With remarriage
yeah.
during this season. So we don't want you to get caught off guard of, why am I feeling like this? We don't want you to feel bad or guilty about feeling like, hey, I might be in divorce season.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, we really don't want anybody to go through divorce or the pain of a breakup from a remarriage.
Right.
There's a lot of hurt that happens when your remarriage goes through a divorce, goes through a separation, or has the pain and the pressures. And we don't want you to go through that. So this is one of the reasons why we're having this discussion. Not to mention, most of the time, if you're going through a remarriage divorce, you're a little bit older than you were before.
Yeah, you have to consider that. This isn't, the first time that you have felt this way. It may even feel more intense. If you were married before and you went through that season, kind of how you feel. And so that may trick you into thinking, hey, I'm getting the same indicators that I should leave because they're even more intense. But that is not necessarily true.
No.
We can be a little more sensitive to those season and triggers because we had been married before. And so it's important for us to take that time and pause and make sure that we are looking at our reality and not making decisions like based on the fantasy that keeps going on in our mind.
Yes.
Because
they can trick you.
They really can. You just take a breather from that. And if you need to, just have that day, get $15 and go tell everyone,
somebody
I'm
might
gone
say,
for that day.
You know what? I was thinking about that because somebody would say $15 is nothing. I could do 30, 40, 50. But what if you took $15 to see what you could do to give yourself joy that day?
Yeah, it's like a challenge.
It's like a challenge. Yeah, you're challenging yourself with $15. What can I do to give myself joy for one day with $15?
I could go to Krispy Kreme.
Whatever it is, you decide on what's going to give you that joy to alleviate the pressure that you're going through during divorce season.
Yeah, that's like the opposite of going to Sprouts and getting my little, smoothie. Like I have like the whole extreme that I can do with $15. Sometimes you just need a day. You'll be surprised what 24 hours can do of just peace. I would always reflect back on why you and I got married when I'm in any low point, why I love you so much.
I think that's the best thing is to look at, why did we get married in the first place? What got us here as far as the love that we said we had for each other? Just recount to yourself why you love that individual, why you are a stepdad, a stepmom, why you are a newly married person to this new spouse, why you care about this person so much. And you told people when you married them, or you went to the courthouse, however you chose to do it, and you professed your love before the judge, before the priest, before the pastor, and you let people know, I love this person. Now you're thinking,
And I want to spend the rest of my life with
I
this
want to spend the
person.
rest of my life with this person. So just
Kind of reflect on that.
reflect on that, bring it up.
Because you don't want resentment to start festering.
Nobody wins. Nobody wins with resentment.
It may already have ground in your heart, you know, a little bitterness, a little resentment, maybe a little hurt still there, and you don't want to add to it. So as soon as you see these signs that your relationship or you're feeling that, you can do these things to get you out of that kind of going down that slope as quickly as possible, and you'll feel better for it. The more that you even put into your remarriage anyway, the more that you intentionally do things to help it and sow those seeds, it will blossom. You will see it somewhere. It will come up.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like
It's not in vain, and it's not going to be voided.
right. And you won't, it's not like you might not see it right then, but I'm going to tell you, if you're intentionally working on like putting little love seeds every day when you're feeling low, when it's hard, they really come up for you.
Because
you know?
it'll help you and your spouse.
Yes.
And that's what you want. You want both of you to be at the top of the mountain together.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be there by myself. I want you with me, because you were there when I first started. I want you along the ride. And when we're sitting on top of the mountain looking down at all the stuff we went through, I want you there with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.